going to talk about some common breathing mistakes. So when we're doing 360 breathing, our rib cage should expand to the side. Our belly and back should also expand. So your back should actually come down towards the floor, and my pelvic floor should lengthen on the inhale. On my exhale, think of everything kind of coming back up and in. So the pelvic floor will return to its resting position. Your rib cage will come back down, okay? So come back in, it's expanding in all directions, and it's gonna come back in as that diaphragm moves back up. So what can often happen, first of all, if your back muscles are really tight and they're working on your inhale, your back is actually gonna move away from the floor. So if I'm inhaling and using my back, then I'm gonna get more space here, if you notice that. We want to avoid that. So your back should actually be expanding and come down, press down into the floor, okay? So if you notice that your back lifts away from the floor, likely your paraspinal muscles that run along your spine are tightening in response to that inhale, and they're trying to help out. So we might need to work more on back body breathing. So I have an exercise video of a full deep squat where you're really breathing into your backside. That might be something that you need to work on. If you notice that your ribs, if you put your hands on your sides, and maybe your ribs only move to the front and not out to the side, then we need to spend more time working on that side rib cage mobility. So you're gonna wanna work on your side in the sideline breathing position and work on rib mobility. Maybe you need to do some skin rolling along those side abs to loosen those up so your rib cage can move a little bit. But that is a big thing I see postpartum, is no rib cage movement out to the side. And that's gonna stress a diastasis that's healing, your core, your pelvic floor. So we really wanna get that good rib cage movement out to the side, okay? So if you see where your ribs just move up and down to the front, we wanna avoid that, okay? We really wanna get those ribs moving out to the side so that your diaphragm can work effectively. Another thing I see is all belly, okay? So maybe when you inhale, it's all belly, okay? So all belly, and I know with the camera you probably can't see that, but when I inhale all belly, I actually get some doming there along my midline. So all belly means there's only stress coming through the front of that abdomen, which actually over time could weaken your abdominals, and that's not what we want. We want our abdominals to be naturally strengthening with every breath. And when we get a good 360 breath, that's what happens. But when we're all belly, we're just stretching out an already stretched out and lengthened area from pregnancy. So not all belly, okay? Not all chest. We don't want that shallow. We don't want that, okay? We want that good 360 expansion, rib cage out to the sides, some belly, some chest, and that back moving down towards the floor, not away from the floor. Okay, another thing that I see is seesaw breathing. So maybe you're getting a good inhale and your rib cage is expanding, but then on your exhale, when you're trying to let your rib cage come down and in, I often see that exaggerated. So it'll be more like an inhale up where you're arching your back, exhale. So yes, your rib cage is coming down, but everything here is moving through my back. And when you do that on that exhale, a lot of times we see that lower belly pooch out, okay? If you're exhaling too much like this, and then your lower belly pooches out, that's pressure going down on your pelvic floor. We wanna minimize that. So if you're doing this, thinking you're getting a good deep breath in and then exhaling, you're more than likely bearing down or putting pressure down on your pelvic floor too, and that we want to minimize, okay? So those are some things to look out for: that lower belly pooch, excessive forceful, bringing that rib cage down and in, not getting any back expansion, no rib cage out to the side. If you're feeling those things, maybe you videotape yourself and you're like, oh, yeah, my ribs actually only move to the front. I don't really see them moving to the side, or I can't feel them moving to the side. Then those are some things we want to work on. Maybe you're having a really hard time exhaling your air out from the bottom up. So meaning not going like this and bringing everything down, but we want to exhale from the bottom up. Think of lifting that pelvic floor first and then bringing that rib cage gently down and in. That's another thing you can work on. But there's lots of ways that you can kind of fake a good deep breathing pattern. So videotape yourself, watch the video, see what you're doing, and see if you can pick out any of those things that I just talked about, and work on maybe some of it, breathing in some other positions, like on your side or in a full deep squat, to target getting that good back body and side rib expansion.